Hi, I'm Steelfur. Steelfur Speaks. My Warhammer obsession has continued full on into 2025. So let me just break down what I have gone through and where I am with painting, give you a little bit of a painting update. You know, I'm doing a lot of stuff around the Hunted now in my fab videos. I'm doing a lot of thinking about the TCG market, and you can see my latest video talking about how, how some of the, tactics that are being deployed by modern TCG companies are bordering into predatory capitalism now, and that's up on my channel. It's really interesting. I recommend you go and watch it. But let's just talk about Warhammer for a minute, because I've been really enamored with Warhammer since last October, and I really just like keeping everyone who's watching my channel kind of updated on what I've been doing and what's been going on. So this is my current list of what I own in Warhammer, which has come on quite a lot in the last 4 months, and yeah, it's getting quite big. So I've put a moratorium on buying new stuff, which is really painful because I want those new Eldar models. I've always loved Eldar since I played Rite of War back in 1999, maybe. And I love that Craft World Ilianden, the yellow and the blue thing. I'm going to have to paint it sooner or later. And the new Eldar models, well, I'm kind of saved a little bit because the new Eldar models are all aspects. And they're all aspect warriors, which obviously you don't paint in Craft World colors. You paint typically following the color of their temple. See, I'm a nerd, right? I know these things about Warhammer, even though I've never painted an Eldar in my life. So I'm a bit saved because even if I bought those, I wouldn't be painting them in yellow and blue. But at some point this year, I want a set of like Wraith Lords and Guardians in the yellow and blue Iyanden. Maybe when that new compact patrol comes out, I'll see what's in that, and maybe that will fit what I want. Or there'll be a Christmas box at the end of this year. So let's just review what I've got. So my initial purchase, the Skaven Tide box, right? So the Skaven Spearhead, Stormcast Spearhead, and a little bit extra comes out. Those are still half painted. I haven't really, maybe this has gone up to 7.5, something like that. But I haven't really progressed too much on the rest of that. I then bought Iron Jaws in the Christmas box set, which was a Tuskbox on Morgrunter, 6 Brute Ragers and 20 Hardboys. And since then I've picked up a few other bits, but that was one purchase, so I'll talk about that purchase in a second. I've got my Inquisition kill team, which is like, we'll say 80% painted. I'll show you an update on that in a minute. And then I've got Salvager kill team, the Jaeger kill team, because I really want to paint some Votann. I've got some fake Cascarins I picked up for a tenner from Etsy, and I've got some Rio Cascarins that I have like a whole kit bash planned for. They're going to be my first attempted kit bash, and I have some bits I'll talk through in a minute as to what I'm going to go in there. I have Sisters of Silence as well, just one box to go with the Inquisition kill team that I'm going to paint at some point. I have a Sanguinor who's actually painted, which I'll show off in a minute, but it's a proxy Sanguinor, so it's not real. I have 3 Warp 5 throwers I haven't touched because I've kind of gone off the idea of Skaven. I've been finding Iron Jaws so much fun to paint. And really, I'm thinking if I'm painting more Age of Sigmar, I actually kind of want it to be more of the destruction. I'm looking at Gloomspite Gits, the Lunar, the Moon stuff just looks so much fun. I'm looking at the other Horde. And like, I don't mind if I'm buying cheap models, right? There's so much Iron Jaws bare plastic going for like 50, 60, 70% of the price at the moment on eBay. I don't mind that. I'm really loving painting it. I want to be efficient. I don't care if the army's good. I've never played Age of Sigmar. Then I have my Grey Knights. I still have these guys. I have Brother Chaplain, Castellan Crow, Librarian, Nemesis Dread Knight, all proxies, and a Kaldor Drago that I haven't painted yet. Those are just super fun. I don't really know that I want to do more of them. I was going to turn them into a Warp Coven team, because you can do that if you work it out. You can kind of make them look like Warp Coven basically, but I haven't progressed down that path and that kind of thing. I haven't played Kill Team yet either, so I'm going to finish my Inquisition Kill Team and my Cascarins, and then I'm probably just going to go and play Kill Team with those. And if that's too complicated, I'll build the Jaegers or the Salvagers and just play with those instead. I have a Librarian and Terminator armor, which is from Combat Patrol. I haven't painted yet. I have 3 Squidmar minis that came with my paint sets, and I have big bridge parts, which I've painted 1 of 3. And that's kind of it for the Warhammer update, right? I have a few other fiddly bits and flame stuff and things. But let's just talk through all the painting, really, that I've been doing in the past month or two since my last update. So the Stormcast Spearhead is we'll say 70-80% of the way done. You'll see that I've already painted I did them all in non-metallic gold, which went well on some and bad on others. But it was a really good thing just to practice that and just get into the feeling of it. All that's really left to do is to tidy up the decals and make sure they're actually coming through as like ceramics. So go back in there with the Wraithbone and the white highlights on all the shields and all of the shoulder pad symbols. Tidy up the blue, making sure it's all blue and there's no yellow overspill. Do kind of like a brass along the top of those. Maybe do a little bit of tidying up, because I can see areas on the non-metallic metal gold which just don't work. Like, this is all right. It needs to be a little bit bigger at the top. This just doesn't have proper highlighting on at all. So I might go and fix that, but I'm kind of happy with the level of practice that I got. Like, some of these pieces, like these boots and stuff like that, are actually really clean. They look much better than they do on camera, but they look really clean. So I'm kind of roughly happy with all the practice and where it went. And I don't really want this spearhead, so I might just try and finish it up and sell it off to someone if someone wants it, get a bit of the money out of it. They might want a painted spearhead. But I will say there are a few elite models still left in that spearhead. Obviously, all the basing and stuff. So I've got more work to do. I'll enjoy doing it when I get to it because they're really fun models. But I'm not in a rush, really. I kind of did what I wanted to do, which was practice the non-metallic gold. I learned so much from doing that, even in terms of like other highlights. Like stuff like these shoulders, these lion shoulders. They got so much better when I did the second one. It felt really good. This is my Wrecker Mob Christmas box, which was just such a great discount. I had to buy it. I mean, it's still available. I was tempted to get another one for 110 because it's just so good. And then my Sisters of Silence box to go with my kill team. My Skaven spearhead is kind of untouched since I last did it. There's no real reason. I kind of did a lot of fun bits, especially on the Rat Ogres, which I love. But I kind of wanted to... What I wanted to do here was to kind of like do half the clan rats at the start of my painting journey and then go and paint a load of other stuff and then come back and do the other half of the clan rats and kind of put them side by side and see what I've learned or how they differ and kind of like enjoy that process. Let's close these just so I know where I'm going. So the Skaven's still untouched. I will go back and finish them. I know exactly what I'm going to do with them. They're going to get desert bases. It's all this gold and blue, and it just looks really good. And I'm generally happy with where it's going. It just I need to finish it at some point. Then we have this fun model. So this model is a Sanguinor proxy. I'm just trying to think if I have a good picture of what the whole model looks like. I'll get to it later. But basically, it's these wings with a golden space marine attached to the front and these flames at the bottom. It's really fun. So I started off actually by painting these wings just in red. Before I did anything, I kind of just painted these wings in red. And that really did... Let me just find that photo. But that really did a lot for me. In terms of kind of like where I trying to visualize what I wanted the wings to be, right? Here we go. Here's the photo that I wanted to show off to get started. So you can see we've got this model here, and because I wanted to do all of that non-metallic gold practice that I did on the Stormcast Eternals, I wanted to go into this model. You can see I've basically painted the entire thing in this dark rust, which is the Squidmar like non-metallic gold recipe that I've been following. And I did the wings in Mephiston red, so like blood red. And I was tempted to just leave them like that, because then it would be gold body, red wings. But I kind of wanted to try something new. So my goal then was to kind of make the wings bloody rather than completely red, because I thought that would contrast better with the gold and with the fire. So I started off just a pure white dry brush over all of the red, and I kind of covered most of it up, probably a little bit more than I'd planned, if I'm honest. I wish I hadn't got white into as many of the grooves, but really what I did was just get those white feathery textures in all over the model. And oh, sorry, this is what I did before. I started off with doing a pink dry brush, and I actually think I should have just gone straight to white. And I think if I'd done that, I would have covered a lot less with the white. So I kind of did this. got my pink dry brush on, then just went straight to white and got this really fun, like, sort of wing texture, but with red underlying the wings. And then I thought, okay, let's get the rest of the model on. Let's do the non-metallic gold. This model really challenged me, if I'm honest. Like, this is one of these models where I just felt completely out of my depth as a painter. Like, so, you know, all of this detail, it looks all right, but these details really made me struggle, especially on the chest, with these like laurels and things. I felt like I just didn't do the non-metallic metal justice. Some pieces look good, like the feet look good, some of the arms and the shoulders and stuff look good. I'm generally okay with how this looks good, though it took way too much texture. And the wings in the background looked fine as well. Now, I wish I'd thought to do this before I attached the model, but I actually then decided that I wasn't happy with the wings and I wanted them to be bloodier. So then I just went full out and I just decided to bloody up those wings. And really what that meant to me was just painting red blood at the tip of all of those wings. And this is kind of where I ended up with on that. So you can see the non-metallic metal on the model here, on the boots. The flames I did here. The base is not going to stay that way. It's just I wanted the base to blend in a bit. The fire needs a bit more blending and orange and stuff mixed in. But I was really happy with how the blood texture came out on the wings and how that looked. It was really fun. So I'm kind of happy to have that there. And yeah, so I'm really kind of happy with that. And you know, I kind of just really enjoyed how the wings ended up. And then you'll see when we go to the front of the model, I added on the helmet. I did blood in here, which I really like the texture of, you know, just doing it in a dark red and then just doing highlights on the edges so it looks like the edges are catching the light. The feet turned out quite well with the gold. And then I did this whole sword, and it's a bit blocky. Like I would have liked maybe less sharp transitions, but actually it worked out quite well. You know, you've got the middle where the fire is coming from, which is white hot. The flames coming out, getting darker along, but then like kind of the glow of the red hot passing along the whole blade. This purple rope here, you know, and the gold on the sword as well. So I'm really happy in general with how that turned out. It's a really fun model. Especially because it cost me like a tenner from a 3D printer, which, you know, I've got to be economical because I don't want a Blood Angels army. I'm never playing Blood Angels, but I saw this model with the double wings and I was like, I need to paint that. So it made perfect sense just to pick one up. So that's the Sanguinor proxy. I think it turned out really well. I'm just very happy with where it went and it was very fun. Though I would have liked, I think I just need to work on my non-metallic metal, but that's obviously something everyone struggles with. The next big model that I was really working on at the mid to end of December was the Big Pig. Now, I've posted loads of photos of the Big Pig, but this is my Big Pig, right? And I'll kind of show where things went. But this is kind of like probably 20 hours into painting my Big Pig, right? I've already done a load of work on the armor. I've done a load of work on the everything. And I was following a guide from Vince Venturella, who painted one of these pigs in this blue style. Obviously, he has an airbrush. I don't. So I was really just painting this. You can see all the brush strokes and the texture, but I genuinely really like how the colors play on this metal. Like, it's not... There's no blocks or gentle gradients. It's all like an orc would paint it. There's dark where there's dark supposed to be from the shadows. There's light where there's light supposed to be. But even where, like, you can see where I've kind of chipped off paint because you touch this model so much where you're painting it. I don't even mind that because all of this speaks of, like, armor that is breaking and rusted. I love the wood texture I got on these. This is... I painted it brown, dark brown, then I dry brushed it ivory, and then I went over the whole thing with Agarax Dunes contrast. So the shades got even deeper, the wood kind of stayed light. I kind of feathered the contrast so it would be lighter at the top and darker at the bottom and added a bit more of it. This bone is fine. Some of the parts of this bone, like here, I'm not happy with the transitions. But, you know, in general, I would say I'm happy with this. This is my first time doing orc skin. Again, I followed a Vince guide because he loves Iron Jaws and I love Iron Jaws. So I kind of followed his guide and that was really good. I think his best piece of advice was to avoid things looking like muscle islands. do the last highlight is the only one that actually separates upward facing muscle. So what he means is that if you're painting a hand like this, the only highlight that actually separates the muscle is just the last one, because all of the arm is facing upwards like this. So actually there's not a lot of shadow if you think about what's actually going on here. The only thing that's actually in shadow is the last bit that separates the knuckles. So you don't have deep shades. So that was a good bit of advice. My leather recipe was either I did a bit of what's it called? Oh, it's a light GW paint. I can't remember the name of it, and a bit of chocolate brown. And then I did Agaros dunes over the top of it just because it's a really nice contrast. We've obviously just got proper Vallejo metallic metals. We've got two thin coats purple on there. The skin, I mean, he's got yellow eyes with red dots in. I quite like that. The skin is nice as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm just really happy with this. You know, I made some choices while I was doing it. You know, originally these bits here were also blue. And then you know it's one take because I sneeze and I don't pause it. These bits here were originally blue as well, but I just thought it'd be better to have them actually be silver. I think these feet could have been better as well. But I didn't stop there, because one of the things that I set myself a goal with this mini was to actually take it and enter the Squidmar Open Painting Competition, which closed today. And I know I'm not going to win. I mean, I'm 4 months into painting, and I mean, if we were to open some of those entries, which I won't do because it'll embarrass me, there's obviously a lot of high quality entries going into the painting competition, even in the standard category. But it was more of a, I'm painting, I want to push myself to do as much with this miniature as I possibly can. Therefore, let's say I'm going to enter a painting competition, take 2 months and paint it every other day, and constantly be asking myself, what more can I do? Where can I fix? Where can I improve? And see where I end up at the end of that. And that pushed me to try a lot of things that scared the hell out of me, but worked out quite well. So you can see this is, you know, that was without the wings, and then I started adding the extra bits in. So I added the wings. Oh, I did those in the wrong order. Sorry. So originally I had the model without all these bits on the side, and then I decided to add. So I added the head. This is like in between on the painting on the flesh before I brought it up to the highlights. This is the wings that I added on at the end, because I wanted to paint all of the belly and stuff on the fur and things before I did the wings and put more stuff in the way. This is a very complex, it's easy as hell, but it's like a few different paints. It's like blasphemous red shade, and then I think it's Berserker Blood Rage and then Fire Slayer Flesh on the highlights, dry brushing yellow on the top, and then sort of doing Agaros dunes and feathering it on. The whole like Vince recipe was really good on the fur. I'm definitely going to use that again. Then I added all of that in. That's that one. And then I started adding in the other bits. So these guys are sort of side riders. They all have purple pants because that helps with the camouflage. They're wearing camouflage armor, which is all blue. So they're obviously wearing purple pants as well. So these guys were painted and then added on, which is really fun. And you can see the primed Sanguinor in the back just waiting to be painted. And then I just really loved this model. I'm going to paint another one at some point. And then I was doing this piece for a painting competition, so I decided to do more of a diorama piece. I'll show that off in a second. But first things first, I wanted to add some more details. And the first thing I wanted to do was follow Vince's recipe for adding rust to the armor, because Iron Jaws don't look after their armor. So I thought, let's add rust to the armor as well. And that was interesting, scary as hell, because I cut a bit off a sponge from my kitchen. I was going to be covering up all of this lovely blue that I've spent hours working on. And honestly, when I first did it, I would say I ruined a lot of what I did. So I'll just show it off, right? So I clearly went too heavy with the sponge. I put on way more texture than I wanted. Battle damage is supposed to be light and delicate, and I've kind of just added on masses of damage. And I was really sort of disheartened when I did that, because it was like, oh, damn, I've ruined this now. And I'll show you what Vince did in terms of his reference photo that I was originally trying to copy. And you'll see, like, obviously, difference in quality between someone who is a professional painter who's been painting for years. That's fine. But I just want to talk about the volume of battle damage that he's done. He's been very gentle with the sponge, and I went way too overboard with the sponge. And then I tried to do some like streaks and water damage and things as well, and you end up with this greenish, yellowy, basically horrible looking washout that ruins so much of the blue that I put in the armor. The flames I was all right with. I mean, his flames are obviously perfect, and he has these inks that he does, but I was kind of happy enough with my flame decorations. I thought they were kind of fun. And they're kind of fun. They don't need to be perfect. But I wasn't happy with the amount of battle damage that I'd done. So I tried really to clean it up, and I took the advice from my friend, which is just paint the blue back on. So I just took a glaze of the blue, and I did 3 or 4 layers of the blue glaze over where the yellow was, and slowly the yellow disappeared, and I was left with these big rust spots, but not nearly as damning as they were before. And then someone else gave me some other advice, because when I paint one of these minis, because I'm so new, I post them in 2 or 3 places. I send them to friends. I ask for advice from different groups, and I say, what should I do next? And different people give different feedback and advice. And that's how I learn. So someone just sent me a photo of rust and said, your rust is too brown. It's too flat. How does rust actually show on a model? It's got orange, yellow, and brown, and dark browns, light browns, not just the browns I had here. He's like, it's too flat, it's too yellow. Where's the rust? Where's the oxidization? Where's the iron? He just sent me a picture of rust and said, copy these colors. And I did. And that's where we ended up with this rust, which I'm much happier with, especially from a distance. And it's not all the same. Like, there's more orange here. It's not all the same. Some of these things are rusted more. They have more oxidations. They have more orange. It shouldn't be uniform. And that made me much, much happier with it. Because from a distance, this looks now like rust. So I was really pleased with... I was really pleased that I, managed to save my model, managed to bring the blues back in, and feel like I had made it more in control while keeping all this battle damage. Because all these white bits and all this roughness that I've got with the brush is all battle damage and scrapes and chips on the armor. And it makes me really just feel like there's life in this armor, and that it's got a lot of context and texture to it, which I really enjoy, though some of this texture here is not necessarily what I wanted, but it really does feel like it's alive. And that means that even though it doesn't meet these standards, I'm still quite happy with my color scheme, because the colors are different, but the vibe is kind of similar, and you can see the airbrush difference versus what I've gone for, but I'm kind of happy with that. So that was where the model ended up, and I'm happy with his teeth, even though there's a bit of white missing, but anyway, that's fine, and the bone and everything. So I'm quite happy with how that model ended up. Then the decision was that I wanted to submit it in a painting competition, so I wanted to give it a good diorama base, and I settled on this. And the title of my composition, if you will, is called I Hope He Makes This Jump, because this pig is basically jumping from bits of ruined bridge across a frozen river, and if he misses, he's going to fall in. So it's called I Hope He Makes This Jump. And you can see I've done so much with this. So this is a textured base that I bought with frost shards. I've trimmed it down and then glued this bridge on the top of it. I filled in the cracks of the bridge and the ice with water texture. Then I've kind of dry brushed and textured all of this stone. And then I've used liquid frost to basically add these ice crystals all over the top of the bridge and the ice. And then I've added snow along the bits that would catch snow if it was falling. And I did all that. It was really fun just to be playing with the texture of the snow. You can kind of see a bit more of it here. Texture of the snow all over the mini, as well as the frost and stuff like that. It's my wet palette that it's sitting on. I love this art design. Wet palettes I could not paint without, even as a beginner. I mean, because of dyspraxia, I find myself stopping to think about what I'm doing with my paints quite a lot. And because of that, having a wet palette is just proven, just absolutely essential, right? So that's really good. And I was really just happy with how it turned out. And then, of course, this is the photos that I submitted. I think I put it in from a different angle, but this is roughly the photos I submitted for the finished piece. And I was kind of happy with that. My first huge model, loads of really great texture and color, a good base on the diorama. I was really pleased with that. And obviously, I loved this model. I would happily paint one again. And even though I don't expect it to win, I think it was good to challenge myself. Then I moved on to painting Inquisition. So I'm painting my Inquisition kill team. There's lots of photos of my Inquisition kill team. They're all on bases. Their heads are all on sticks, so I can paint them. Loads of cloaks, obviously. Loads of different types of cloaks. This is now white, but you can see the cloak is supposed to be like satin, where it's black, and the highlights are red because of how the light is moving around. This guy's just got black, but it needs to be retouched, unfortunately, because I've got some texture there. I've got some white in there that I didn't plan on getting in there. This guy is the only one that's actually finished. This is my Deathworld veteran. For this guy, I really wanted him to be like, I am a member of the Inquisition. So black pants, gold armor, red shoulder pad, to me screams Inquisition. But I left on the green for the Imperial Guard, in the cloth, in the gloves, and the boots. The boots are really fun. So the boots are like, it's green, it's Imperial Guard green, like this dark green. But then I've highlighted it with brown, and then I've gone over it with Agarax Dune's contrast to give it that sort of leathery, brownish tone, without removing all of the green. And I did the same with the gloves, but less deep, just because, and I made that up completely myself, just as a way of getting that leathery color without making them brown. I want them to be green leather. So that was really fun. Obviously a lot of texture, a lot of silver going in there as well. Keeping the greens where possible, having the gold shining through. Skin tone. I wasn't happy with his face in the end. So I went back and I did more highlights on the nose and the forehead and the top of the head. But in general, I think it's fine. I might still have to do some tidying up on his head, but I think it worked out all right. And then obviously he's got this fun, he's got a hand stapled to the back of his thing. And we've got some texture on the gold armor, texture on the leather that was really fun as well, leather on the boots. It's just a really fun model to paint. I've really leaned into Kill Team in the past few months just because there's so many. It's like a cheap box of models with good variety that I just really enjoyed. Then we have more texture there. Sorry, that's just the dog. Finally, just these things I bought. I bought this all for £70 on eBay. It was a steal. It was fantastic. Sorry, mate, just 1 second. Oh, no, you got them. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate. Cheers. Yeah, sorry, someone was just picking something up from the front door. But yeah, so I really love that Kill Team. I'm working on it. And then as we're going back here, my plan is to kit bash the Cascarins to look more Inquisition-y. So I've got a load of... Sorry, it's just the dog. I've got a load of bits from Grey Knights, the Inquisition Kill Team itself, and all that are going to go onto the Cascarins. So I'll post that, and then they're going to be in a red and black color scheme, maybe with a little gold. So that's going to be like really like these are Cascarins that work with the Inquisition, or Kazakins that work with the Inquisition rather than just being separate. So yeah, this was the steal of the month. I don't know why, but someone put up this order for £70 on eBay. It wasn't even an auction. And, if you know anything about... obviously, Ironjaws just didn't get the buff that everyone was expecting they would get from their battle tome. But if you know anything about Ironjaws, this model is £85. This model is £20. This is in Legacy, so you can't play it, but it's still like 15 quid. These are £30 a box, and these are £20. So basically, I got £160 worth of miniatures for about 30 quid, and I wanted one of these. The only problem with this is that my pig is blue. My pig is blue. My Ironjaws are blue, and this guy's in yellow. So at some point, luckily this is magnetized on, so I can separate it. But at some point very soon, I'm going to have to strip all the paint off this model. And I'm going to have to paint this dragon red or blue. And I'm going to have to paint him in blue armor. So we can't be having us running around with a green and yellow whatever he's called. I called it. It's a Megabus on More Crusher. Megabus. It's a Megabus on a More Crusher. No, I can't have him being yellow. So I'm gonna have to repaint him. But that's it. I mean, that's half an hour. Thanks for listening. People commented. It's really, on my previous videos that it was kind of fun to see me doing something other than fab, and they were kind of enjoying my painting journey as someone who has dyspraxia, so I have coordination difficulties. So if I can do, this, then anyone can do anything in Warhammer. And just they thought it was fun to see me having fun with a new hobby that wasn't fab. So I thought I'd continue sharing where I'm going. I'm still loving Warhammer. I'm still painting my Inquisition kill team. I have all of these Iron Jaw models to paint, which I do want to get done. I really want to finish these 2 spearheads and just get them off the to paint list. And then I really want to, once I've cleared off some of this stuff, I really want to get some of those new Eldar models and get those painted as well. I just think the new Phoenix Lords are really fun. So yeah, that's me. That's Warhammer. Back to fab content after this, but it's been a really great time. Speak to you all soon.